A virgin Arab millionaire humiliated his ex-wife. Mistress laughed. Then her military dad stepped into the room with two armed men. His phone buzzed against the mahogany desk. 57 missed calls. 200 unread messages. Instagram notifications crashed his phone twice. Every social media platform exploded with women suddenly interested in the virgin billionaire. Have you ever chosen isolation over vulnerability? Hi viewers, kindly tell us where you're watching from and what time it is. Warm welcome to the family. Enjoy the story. The gunshot echoed through the Houston mansion as Zaid Khalil watched his world collapse in real time. Millions of viewers streaming his humiliation live. Blood pooled on marble floors worth more than most people's homes, while the woman he'd trusted with his body lay motionless beside the ex-wife who destroyed his heart. But the retired Air Force colonel standing over them both wasn't there to save anyone. He was there to collect a debt that had nothing to do with love. What happens when revenge becomes a live-streamed execution? Have you ever trusted someone who was playing a game you didn't even know existed? Have you ever discovered that your entire relationship was built on lies? Tonight, we expose how social media dares, military secrets, and tech fortunes collide in the deadliest catfish scheme ever recorded. Hit that notification bell because this story has more twists than a Netflix thriller, and every single detail is based on real events. It all started 3 months ago when Zaid Khalil thought he'd finally won. At 32, Zaid Khalil owned 3 private jets, 2 Bugattis, and a $50 million penthouse. But he'd never felt a woman's lips against his. The Forbes notification changed everything that Tuesday morning in Houston. Tech mogul reveals intimate secret in viral interview. Flashed across his phone screen while he sat in his home office, surrounded by monitors displaying his cybersecurity empire's daily profits. $12 million flowing through servers he'd built with his own hands. The Georgia Tech Computer Lab haunted his memory. 20-year-old Zaid's fingers flying across keyboards at 3 a.m., building security protocols that would eventually protect Fortune 500 companies. Empty energy drink cans lined his desk like soldiers, his only companions during the lonely climb to power. His mother's voice echoed from that cramped Patterson apartment. Beta, success means nothing if you compromise your soul for it. She died believing her son would find someone worthy of the promise she'd made him swear on the Quran, to save himself for love that saw his heart, not his bank account. The interview had gone viral for all the wrong reasons. 32 years old, worth $80 million, and never been kissed. Twitter exploded with reactions ranging from respect to ridicule. The reporter had pressed him, "Mr. Khalil, surely a man of your status has had opportunities?" "I've had plenty of opportunities," he'd answered, adjusting his Tom Ford suit jacket. "But I've never had someone look at me and see Zaid the person, not Zaid the portfolio." College parties flooded back, watching classmates hook up in dormitory hallways while he coded alone, building walls higher than his bank account would ever reach. Every woman who approached him after his first million came with dollar signs in her eyes. Every conversation started with questions about his cars, his houses, his investments. Never about his dreams. Never about the boy from New Jersey who still missed his mother's cooking. His phone buzzed against the mahogany desk. 57 missed calls. 200 unread messages. Instagram notifications crashed his phone twice. Every social media platform exploded with women suddenly interested in the virgin billionaire. Then he saw it. The message that made his blood freeze. "Hey stranger, miss me?" Vanessa, the woman who'd called him a weird virgin loser 5 years ago. The same woman who'd laughed at his gentleness, mocked his traditional values, and married his former business partner 3 months after their divorce was finalized. The woman who destroyed his ability to trust anyone with his heart. Her profile picture showed the same bright smile that once made him believe in forever. Same dark eyes that had looked at him with disgust when she discovered his savings account was empty during their startup days. Back when love felt possible instead of transactional. She'd seen the Forbes article, seen his success, seen his net worth plastered across financial magazines worldwide. And now she wanted back in. Have you ever chosen isolation over vulnerability? When success feels hollow because you have no one to share it with? Tell me in the comments what matters more, connection or protection. Before he could block her number, another message arrived, a photo of her outside his Houston mansion. "I'm already here," she wrote. "We need to talk." But Zaid wasn't alone anymore, and the woman upstairs wouldn't appreciate unexpected visitors. She walked back into his life through a text message, 5 years after calling him a weird virgin loser and marrying his former business partner. Zaid stared at his security monitors, watching Vanessa pace outside the iron gates of his River Oaks estate. Designer dress, perfect makeup, rehearsed tears already streaming down her cheeks. The same manipulation tactics that had worked when he was broke and desperate for love. The Austin courthouse steps flashed through his memory, where she'd served him divorce papers with a smile, telling him she needed a real man, not a charity case. Her lawyer had been brutal, taking half of nothing because nothing was all he'd had back then. "You'll never amount to anything," she'd whispered that final day, her wedding ring already replaced with another man's diamond. Who's going to love a grown man afraid of his own shadow? Those words had driven him through sleepless nights, through coding marathons that built his first million, through every business deal that multiplied his worth. Every success had been fuel for the fire she'd lit in his chest. His phone buzzed again. Her voice message played through his office speakers. "Baby, I know you're watching me through those cameras. I saw the Forbes article. I'm so proud of what you've become. I made a mistake, the biggest mistake of my life. Can we please just talk? I'm sorry, Zaid. I'm so sorry." The same voice that had once whispered, "I love you," in their cramped studio apartment. The same voice that had screamed, "I never loved you," during their final fight. Their wedding night crashed back. Her laughter when he'd been nervous, her eye roll when he'd tried to be gentle. "Just get it over with," she'd said, scrolling through her phone while he tried to make their first time special. He'd slept on the couch that night, and most nights after, the security system chimed. She'd somehow gotten past the gate, probably charmed the guards with sob stories about their misunderstanding. Classic Vanessa, turning her tears into weapons. Footsteps on marble stairs echoed through the mansion's sound system. She was inside. "Zay," her voice carried through the foyer, sweet and desperate. "Please, just 5 minutes. Let me explain what really happened. Let me show you how much I've changed." But footsteps from his second floor interrupted her plea. Heavier steps, confident steps. Steps that belonged to the woman who'd been sharing his bed for the past 6 months. The woman who'd never asked about his money. The woman who'd made him forget Vanessa existed. Brielle appeared at the top of the staircase like a goddess claiming her throne, 6 feet of Brazilian curves wrapped in a silk robe that left nothing to imagination. Her Instagram-famous body had graced magazine covers, but more importantly, it had shown him what passion felt like when someone actually wanted him. "Baby," Brielle called down, her Miami accent thick with territorial warning. "You didn't tell me we were expecting company. Have you ever had someone from your past resurface right when life was going well? Someone who hurt you but still had power over your heart? Drop a broken heart if you've been there." Vanessa's face went pale as Brielle descended the stairs, every step calculated to display what Vanessa had walked away from. The reunion was about to become a war. Brielle descended the marble staircase like a goddess claiming her throne, 6 feet of Brazilian curves and Miami attitude, ready to mark her territory. The Houston mansion's foyer became a battlefield, crystal chandeliers casting dramatic shadows as 2 women circled each other like predators. Vanessa's conservative dress and pearls stood no chance against Brielle's barely their designer outfit and diamond-tipped nails. "So you're the charity case who thought a rich husband would solve your daddy issues," Brielle purred, examining her manicure. "How'd that work out for you, sweetheart?" Zaid watched from the second-floor balcony, his body responding to Brielle's fierce protectiveness despite the chaos. 6 months ago, she'd walked into his life through a mutual friend's party, never asking about his wealth, never caring about his status. She'd wanted him, just him. Their first kiss had happened in his garage, surrounded by his car collection. She'd pressed him against his Lamborghini, whispering, "I don't care what you drive, baby. I care how you drive me crazy." Now, she stood defending their relationship like a lioness protecting her pride. Vanessa's practiced tears started flowing. Perfectly timed, perfectly fake. I know I hurt him, but you don't understand our history. We were married. We had plans, dreams. Had being the key word. Brielle interrupted, stepping closer until they were inches apart. Past tense, honey. As an overdone, finished. What you had was 5 years ago. What he has now is standing right in front of you. The contrast was striking. Vanessa's desperation masquerading as dignity versus Brielle's raw confidence. Old wounds versus new possibilities. Zaid remembered their wedding photos. Vanessa always positioned herself to catch the best light, the best angle, the best everything. Even their honeymoon had been about her Instagram posts, not their connection. Brielle had never posted a single photo of them together. Their relationship existed in private moments, stolen kisses, and conversations that lasted until sunrise. Zaid, please, Vanessa called up to him, ignoring Brielle completely. Just give me 10 minutes to explain. What we had was real. What she has with you. It's not love, it's convenience. Brielle's eyes flashed dangerous. Convenience? Sweetheart, let me show you convenient. She pressed herself against Zaid's body as he came down the stairs, her lips finding his neck in a kiss that sent fire through his veins. Her whisper was loud enough for Vanessa to hear. Tonight, I'm going to remind you why you never think about her anymore. Vanessa's composure cracked. Really? This is what you've become? Some Instagram model's plaything? Better her plaything than your punching bag. Zaid's voice cut through the tension, surprising himself with its steadiness. For 5 years, he'd imagined this moment. Vanessa crawling back, begging forgiveness, realizing her mistake. In those fantasies, he'd always taken her back, proving his love was stronger than her betrayal. Reality felt different, colder, more calculated. As Vanessa's tears started flowing, perfectly timed, perfectly fake, Zaid felt something he hadn't experienced in 5 years, the desire for revenge. Team Brielle or with Team Vanessa? Who would you want defending your relationship? Comment below with your choice and why. Actually, he said, voice dropping to a dangerous whisper, I'm glad you're here. There's something I want to show you. The game was about to begin. He didn't just want to hurt her. He wanted to humiliate her the way she'd humiliated him, but with an audience of thousands watching live. Zaid's home office transformed into a war room within hours. Multiple monitors displayed guest lists, catering menus, and streaming equipment setups. The reunion party would be his masterpiece. A social execution disguised as reconciliation. I love this side of you, Brielle whispered against his ear, her body pressed against his back as he typed invitation messages. Her excitement was intoxicating, making his pulse race with anticipation and arousal. The guest list was perfect. Everyone who'd witnessed his humiliation 5 years ago would now witness hers. College friends who'd watched Vanessa mock his virginity at parties. Business contacts who'd heard her call him sexually inadequate during their divorce proceedings. His fingers flew across the keyboard. Join us for a special reunion celebration. Vanessa and I have exciting news to share about our future together. Each invitation felt like loading ammunition. What about streaming? Brielle asked, her hands sliding down his chest while reading over his shoulder. We could go live on Instagram, maybe TikTok. Let the whole world watch her get what she deserves. The mansion's ballroom buzzed with activity as tech crews disguised cameras as decorative elements. Every angle calculated for maximum emotional destruction. Professional lighting that would make Vanessa's tears look pathetic instead of sympathetic. She destroyed my self-worth in front of 20 people, Zaid muttered, testing camera angles. I'm returning the favor in front of 20,000. Brielle's laughter was music to his ears. Baby, with your follower count? Try 200,000. Their passion that afternoon was fueled by shared revenge fantasy. In his office, with Houston sprawling beyond floor-to-ceiling windows, Brielle climbed onto his desk while he worked. Her excitement about Vanessa's downfall made their connection more intense than ever. Make her watch, she gasped against his neck, her movements becoming more aggressive as victory thoughts consumed her. Make her see what she gave up. His hands gripped her hips harder, their revenge fantasy becoming physical reality. Every kiss tasted like justice. Every touch promised satisfaction that had nothing to do with love and everything to do with settling scores. She called me weak. He growled against her throat. Call me pathetic. Tonight, she'll see exactly how strong I've become. The catering staff arrived at sunset, servers arranging crystal glasses while Zaid finalized streaming protocols. Every detail planned with military precision, every moment choreographed for maximum impact. His phone buzzed with confirmations. 53 guests accepting. Social media influencers agreeing to share the stream. Even some local news outlets requesting access. Vanessa had spent the day at a nearby hotel, probably preparing her sob story, practicing her apology speech. She had no idea she was walking into an execution. Is revenge ever justified? When someone destroys your self-worth, do they deserve to feel that same pain? Share your thoughts on payback in the comments. But as Zaid sent the final invitations, Brielle's phone buzzed with a message that made her face go pale. We need to talk, she whispered, her confidence cracking for the first time. There's something about this party you don't know. The hunter was about to become the hunted. The woman he trusted with his body had been recording their most intimate moments, but not for the reasons he thought. The infinity pool reflected Houston's skyline as Brielle paced the deck, her usual confidence replaced by something that looked almost like shame. Her phone screen glowed with evidence of a deception that ran deeper than either revenge or love. It started as a game, she admitted, unable to meet his eyes. Rich, lonely guy, virgin tech nerd. They bet me 50,000 I couldn't make you fall for me. Zaid's world tilted. The pool lights blurred as her words hit like physical blows. They? His voice came out strangled. Brielle's hands shook as she showed him her phone. Screenshots of a Telegram group called Trophy Wives. Dozens of women, all gorgeous, all targeting wealthy men across America. The messages made his stomach churn. Target acquired. Zaid Khalil, Houston. Tech mogul, virgin, desperate for validation. This one's worth millions. Remember, record everything. These lonely billionaires love to talk business after sex. He's so sweet, it's almost sad. Like taking candy from a baby. 6 months of their relationship displayed like a hunting expedition. Every date planned. Every kiss calculated. Every moment of vulnerability he'd shared had been screenshot and shared with strangers. Their first time together flooded back. Her patience when he'd been nervous. Her gentle guidance when he'd fumbled with her clothes. The way she'd whispered, "I've got you, baby," when he'd finally moved inside her. All performance. All lies. The cameras, he whispered, remembering the tiny devices she claimed were for security in his bedroom. You recorded us. Not just us. Brielle's confession came in broken pieces. Every conversation about your business deals. Every time you mentioned clients, contracts, security protocols. They wanted information, not just money. The betrayal cut deeper than Vanessa's abandonment. Vanessa had left him for being poor. Brielle had seduced him for being rich and naive. But somewhere between your hands on my skin and your heart on your sleeve, I forgot it was supposed to be fake. Her voice cracked. The last 3 months, everything after Miami, that was real, Zaid. I swear to God, that was real. How do I know? His words came out hollow. How do I know anything you've ever said was true? Before she could answer, car doors slammed in the driveway. Through the security monitors, he watched Vanessa exit a black SUV, but she wasn't alone. The man beside her wore military dress blues and carried himself like death incarnate. Broad shoulders, steel jaw, eyes that had seen combat. His medals caught the driveway lights. Iraq, Afghanistan, distinguished service ribbons that spoke of a man who'd buried enemies in foreign soil. Who is that? Zaid demanded. Brielle's whisper chilled his blood. That's Colonel Brooks, Vanessa's stepfather, and he's not here for a reunion. The colonel's eyes swept the mansion's exterior with tactical precision, identifying entrance points, security weaknesses, defensive positions. This wasn't a family visit. This was a military operation. Have you ever started something fake that became real? Can genuine feelings grow from deceptive beginnings? Tell me your thoughts below. There's something else, Brielle whispered as the colonel approached the front door. The Telegram group. We weren't just targeting random rich guys. We were specifically hunting defense contractors and tech moguls with government connections. Your security company protects military networks, doesn't it? The doorbell rang like a funeral toll. Colonel Leonard Brooks didn't come alone. Two veterans flanked him, men with scars and dead eyes who'd seen real war. But Leonard's focus wasn't on Zaid. His steel gaze locked onto Brielle, who was still clutching her champagne like nothing had changed. You think this is entertainment? Leonard's voice cut through the mansion like a blade. You think my daughter's pain is your playground? Brielle's confident smirk faltered. She'd expected Vanessa's family to be soft civilians, not military-hardened steel. But Leonard Brooks had spent 30 years protecting America from people exactly like her. Manipulators who played games with lives. The live stream chat exploded. Viewers were typing faster than they could think. Who is this man? Brielle looks scared now. This is getting intense. Zaid stood frozen between his past and present, watching his carefully planned revenge crumble. Leonard stepped closer to Brielle, his boots heavy on the marble floor. I know who you are, Miss Rodriguez. I know about your little Telegram group. I know about the dare. Brielle's glass slipped from her fingers, shattering against the floor. The sound made everyone jump. For the first time tonight, the Instagram model looked genuinely afraid. What dare? Zaid's voice cracked. His empire, his confidence, his control. Everything was slipping away with those two words. Leonard pulled out his phone, scrolling through screenshots that made Brielle go pale. 3 months ago, you and your rich friends made a bet. Seduce the virgin billionaire and record everything. Winner gets $50,000. The mansion fell silent except for the hum of camera equipment still rolling live. Millions of viewers held their breath as Zaid's face went from confusion to devastation to pure rage. Brielle tried to run toward the door, but Leonard's men moved faster. They didn't touch her. They just blocked her path like human walls. The real question, Leonard continued, his eyes never leaving Brielle's terrified face, is why a Miami socialite suddenly cares about a tech billionaire she's never met. Unless someone paid you to care. Vanessa stepped forward, tears streaming down her cheeks. Zaid, I didn't know. I swear I didn't know she was using you. But Zaid wasn't listening to his ex-wife anymore. His dark eyes were fixed on Brielle, the woman he'd shared his bed with, the woman he'd trusted with his body and his secrets. Show them the contracts, Leonard ordered. Brielle shook her head desperately. There are no contracts. This is crazy. Zaid, baby, tell them this is crazy. Leonard's phone screen lit up with documents, NDAs, payment schedules, recording agreements, all signed by Brielle Rodriguez. The live stream viewers were losing their minds. She played him so hard. This is better than Netflix. Poor ZYD. Have you ever trusted someone completely, only to discover they were performing the entire time? How do you rebuild when the person you gave everything to was just collecting a paycheck? Zaid's hand shook as he reached for Leonard's phone, reading proof that his first intimate relationship had been nothing but an expensive lie. Leonard wasn't finished. He swiped to another screen, showing bank transfers that made everyone in the room gasp. $50,000 from your friends was just the beginning, wasn't it, Miss Rodriguez? Brielle's fake confidence completely cracked. She looked like a cornered animal, beautiful but dangerous and desperate. $2 million from overseas accounts, Chinese shell companies, Russian cryptocurrency wallets. Leonard's voice grew harder with each revelation. You weren't just seducing Zaid for sport. You were stealing his technology. The live stream chat went insane. International espionage? This is real spy stuff. Zaid got played by a foreign agent. Zaid felt sick. His cybersecurity company protected government contracts, defense systems, banking networks. If Brielle had access to his codes, his passwords, his private servers, every time you touched him, Leonard continued, staring at Brielle with disgust, you were photographing his computer screens. Every intimate moment you shared was cover for corporate espionage. Brielle finally found her voice, but it came out shaky and desperate. You can't prove anything. Those accounts aren't mine. Leonard smiled coldly. Facial recognition from Beijing security cameras says otherwise. You've made this same play before. In London, in Dubai, in Singapore. Always targeting tech executives. Always stealing classified information. The room felt like it was shrinking. Zaid's guests whispered among themselves, some heading toward the exits. This wasn't fun entertainment anymore. This was national security. Vanessa looked genuinely shocked. She'd come here to apologize, maybe win back her ex-husband, but she'd walked into an international incident. Zaid, she whispered, reaching for his arm. I'm so sorry. I had no idea she was. Don't touch me. Zaid's voice was ice cold. He looked at both women with equal hatred. Neither of you get to touch me ever again. Leonard stepped between them, his military training taking over. Mr. Khalil, we need to know everything she had access to. Every password, every server, every classified contract. Brielle made one last desperate play. She grabbed Zaid's shirt, pressing her body against his like she had so many nights before. Baby, you know me. You know what we have is real. Don't let them poison what we built together. But Zaid pushed her away with force that surprised everyone, including himself. For 3 months, she'd been the first woman to touch his body, to see him vulnerable, to make him feel desired. Now every memory felt contaminated. What we built, Zaid's laugh was bitter and broken. You built lies. I built a target on my back. The live stream viewers were glued to their screens. He's finally seeing the truth. She's still trying to manipulate him. This is so intense. Leonard's phone buzzed with an urgent message. His face went even more serious, which seemed impossible. We have a bigger problem, he announced to the room. The FBI just intercepted communications. There's a team heading here right now. They're not coming to arrest anyone. Everyone froze. The mansion suddenly felt less like a party venue and more like a trap. They're coming to eliminate witnesses. How far would foreign agents go to protect their secrets? When does seduction become treason? And when does treason become murder? The mansion's lights flickered and died. Emergency power kicked in, casting everything in an eerie red glow that made faces look like demons, and angels couldn't tell the difference. Leonard's military instincts activated instantly. Everyone get down. Now! But Brielle had other plans. In the chaos and darkness, she broke free from the human wall, blocking her escape, sprinting toward the back patio in her designer heels. Zaid watched her run. The woman who'd shared his bed, who'd whispered promises in his ear while stealing his life's work. Part of him wanted her to escape. Part of him wanted her caught. All of him felt empty. The live stream is still running, someone shouted from across the room. We're still broadcasting. Leonard cursed under his breath. Millions of viewers were watching this disaster unfold in real time. Every word, every revelation, every moment of vulnerability was being recorded and shared across the internet forever. Vanessa crawled across the marble floor towards Zaid, her expensive dress torn and dirty. We need to get out of here. Whatever's coming, we can't stay. For a moment, Zaid looked at his ex-wife, really looked at her. The woman who'd called him too soft, too weird, too religious. Now she was crawling through broken glass to reach him while gunfire echoed outside. Why did you come back? He asked her quietly while Leonard coordinated with his men. Vanessa's eyes filled with tears that looked genuine for the first time all night. Because I was wrong about everything. Because I was stupid and cruel. Because when I saw you on Forbes, I realized I'd thrown away the only good man I'd ever known. The live stream chat was split between sympathy and skepticism. She's manipulating him too. At least she's honest. Both women are toxic. Outside, car engines roared and tires screeched. Leonard's radio crackled with urgent messages in military code that civilians couldn't understand. We have approximately 4 minutes before they breach the perimeter, Leonard announced. Mr. Khalil, your security system, can you lock down the house? Zaid's tech genius kicked in despite his emotional chaos. He pulled out his phone, fingers flying across the screen as he activated fortress mode, steel shutters, reinforced doors, communication jammers. Done. We're sealed in, but they can't get signals out either. Including the live stream? Leonard asked. Zaid's face went pale. No, the stream is running on satellite backup. It can't be stopped remotely, which meant millions of people would watch whatever happened next. They'd witness Zaid's humiliation, Brielle's betrayal, and possibly everyone's death, all in real time, all recorded forever. Vanessa grabbed Zaid's hand. Her touch felt different than Brielle's, less electric but more honest. I know you hate me. I know I don't deserve forgiveness. But if we die tonight, I need you to know I loved you. I was just too immature to understand what love meant. Leonard's radio erupted with emergency alerts. Multiple vehicles approaching, heavily armed. Estimate 12 hostiles. The mansion shook as something heavy hit the front door. Then silence. Then the sound of power tools cutting through steel. How do you face death when millions are watching? How do you forgive someone who destroyed you when the world might end in minutes? Zaid looked at the cameras still rolling, knowing his last moments might become internet history. The cutting stopped. Everything went silent except for the hum of cameras and the sound of hearts beating too fast. Leonard positioned his men at strategic points throughout the mansion's main room. Years of military training had taught him to read situations, and this one was bad. They're not here to negotiate, he whispered to Zaid. They're here to clean up loose ends. Brielle was still nowhere to be found. She'd vanished into the mansion's sprawling layout, probably looking for another exit or a place to hide. But there was nowhere to run anymore. Zaid stared at the live stream counter. 8.3 million viewers and climbing. People were sharing this across every platform, turning his private hell into global entertainment. Turn off the cameras, Vanessa pleaded. Don't let them see us like this. But Zaid shook his head. If we're going to die tonight, at least there will be witnesses. At least someone will know the truth about what happened here. The live chat was moving so fast, it was just a blur of capital letters and crying emojis. Call the police, this can't be real, someone help them. Leonard's radio crackled one more time before going dead. They're jamming us now. We're on our own. A new sound echoed through the mansion. Slow, deliberate footsteps moving through the hallways. Professional boots on marble floor. Multiple sets, coordinated movement. Zaid found himself reaching for Vanessa's hand. After everything, the betrayal, the divorce, the years of resentment, she was the only person in this room who'd known him before he became wealthy, before he became a target. I'm sorry I called you soft, she whispered. You were never soft. You were just good. And I was too damaged to recognize good when I had it. Leonard held up 3 fingers, then 2, then 1. The front door exploded inward with military precision. Smoke grenades rolled across the marble floor, filling the mansion with thick white clouds that made everyone cough and tear up. Through the smoke came figures in tactical gear, face masks, night vision, weapons that looked like they belonged in war zones rather than Texas suburbs. But something was wrong. These weren't FBI agents or police officers. Their gear was too advanced, too expensive, too foreign. Leonard immediately opened fire, his training taking over. The mansion erupted in gunshots and shouting and chaos that made Hollywood action movies look like children's games. Zaid pulled Vanessa behind an overturned table, trying to shield her from the violence. She clung to him desperately, and for a moment there were just 2 terrified people who'd once loved each other, hiding from death together. The viewers need to know, Zaid shouted over the gunfire. They need to know this is real. They need to know what happened to us. He held his phone up toward the cameras, making sure his face was visible to the millions watching. Blood from a piece of flying glass had cut his cheek, making him look like a warrior instead of a victim. My name is Zaid Khalil. If something happens to me tonight, investigate Brielle Rodriguez and her handlers. Investigate the Chinese accounts, the Russian money, the technology theft. Don't let them bury this story. A bullet shattered the table inches from his head. The live stream viewers watched in horror as their entertainment became a real-time assassination attempt. The gunfire stopped as suddenly as it had started. Smoke hung in the air like fog, making everything look like a dream or a nightmare. Through the haze, a figure emerged that made everyone freeze. Brielle walked back into the main room, but she wasn't running anymore. She wasn't scared anymore. She was holding a gun with the confidence of someone who'd been trained to use it. "Everybody stay exactly where you are," she commanded in a voice that sounded nothing like the sweet Miami model who'd whispered promises in Zaid's ear. Leonard tried to raise his weapon, but 3 red laser dots appeared on his chest. Professional snipers had him in their sights from multiple angles. "You played your parts perfectly," Brielle continued, her American accent completely gone, replaced by something Eastern European that made Zaid's blood run cold. "Especially you, Zaid. So trusting. So eager to believe someone could love you." The live stream chat exploded with realization. She's the leader. She's not even American. This was all planned. Zaid felt like someone had reached into his chest and ripped out his heart. Every intimate moment, every vulnerable confession, every time he'd touched her body or let her touch his, all of it had been performance art designed to destroy him. "The technology transfer is complete," Brielle announced to her team. "We have everything we need from his servers. The cybersecurity protocols, the government contracts, the defense network access codes." Vanessa stared at the woman who'd stolen her ex-husband's innocence and his nation's secrets. "You're a monster." Brielle laughed, and the sound was nothing like the musical giggle Zaid remembered from their nights together. "I'm a professional. There's a difference." Leonard struggled to speak through the blood in his mouth. "How long have you been planning this?" 18 months. We identified Zaid as the perfect target, brilliant, isolated, sexually inexperienced, emotionally vulnerable. We studied his patterns, his psychology, his weaknesses. Everything had to be perfect. The mansion's marble floors were stained with blood and broken glass, but the cameras kept rolling. 9.7 million people watched this betrayal unfold in real time. Zaid looked directly into the camera, his dark eyes blazing with rage and heartbreak that millions of viewers felt in their souls. She wasn't just stealing technology. She was stealing trust. She was stealing the ability to believe in love. Brielle moved closer to him, her gun trained on his chest. "Love is a weakness, Zaid. You should thank me for curing you of it." But something had changed in Zaid's face. The softness was gone, burned away by betrayal and replaced by something harder. Something dangerous. "You made one mistake," he said quietly. Brielle raised an eyebrow. "What's that?" "You assumed I was stupid enough to keep my real secrets on servers you could access." The color drained from Brielle's face as understanding dawned. "What do you mean?" Zaid smiled for the first time all night, but it wasn't a happy smile. "The codes you stole? They're fake. I've been feeding you false information for weeks. The real security protocols are locked in systems you never even knew existed." The live stream viewers watched as the hunter became the hunted, as the victim revealed himself to be the one who'd been in control all along. Have you ever underestimated someone because they seemed too good, too pure, too innocent? Sometimes the quietest people are the ones you should fear most. Brielle's confident mask cracked like ice under pressure. The woman who'd manipulated emotions for a living was now experiencing genuine fear for the first time in years. "You're lying," she hissed, but her voice shook with uncertainty. "We monitored everything. Every keystroke, every login, every file transfer." Zaid stood up slowly, ignoring the guns pointed at him from every direction. The live stream counter hit 12.8 million viewers as people shared this across every social platform on Earth. "You monitored what I wanted you to monitor," he said calmly. "Did you really think a cybersecurity expert would be stupid enough to keep classified government contracts on hackable servers?" Leonard, bleeding but still breathing, managed a weak smile. "The kid's smarter than all of us." Brielle's team exchanged nervous glances. Their entire operation had been built on stolen technology that was apparently worthless. Months of planning, millions of dollars invested, international careers on the line, all for fake data. "Show me," Brielle demanded, pressing her gun harder against Zaid's chest. "Show me the real servers right now, or I'll kill everyone in this room." But Zaid just laughed, and the sound was nothing like the nervous boy who'd been heartbroken an hour ago. This was the laugh of someone who'd been 3 steps ahead the entire time. "You still don't understand. There are no physical servers. The real data exists in quantum encryption scattered across satellite networks you can't touch, protected by algorithms you can't break, locked behind security codes that change every 30 seconds. The live chat erupted. "He's a genius. She got played so hard. This is better than any movie." Vanessa stared at her ex-husband with a mixture of pride and fear. She'd married a sweet computer nerd and divorced him for being too soft. But the man standing here now was someone completely different, dangerous, calculating, powerful. "When did you know?" she whispered. Zaid's eyes never left Brielle's face. "Week 3. You made one mistake, sweetheart. You knew too much about government contract procedures for someone who claimed to be just a Miami model." Brielle's foreign accent became thicker as her control slipped. "If the data is fake, then we have no reason to keep any of you alive." "Actually, you do." Zaid pulled out a different phone, one Brielle had never seen before. "Because while you were busy stealing fake files, I was recording everything. Every conversation, every confession, every admission of espionage." The screen showed hours of footage. Brielle admitting to the Telegram dare, discussing Chinese handlers, revealing her true identity, planning the technology theft. The FBI, CIA, and NSA have been watching this live stream since Chapter 6. They're already tracing your satellite connections, freezing your bank accounts, and hunting down every member of your network. Brielle's face went white as she realized she'd been broadcasting her own crimes to law enforcement in real time. "You played me," she breathed. "I learned from the best," Zaid replied coldly. "You taught me that love is just another weapon. Consider your lesson learned." Outside, the sound of helicopters grew louder. Real FBI agents this time, not foreign operatives dressed up as Americans. The live stream viewers watched as justice closed in on the woman who tried to steal America's secrets through seduction and betrayal. How does it feel to discover that the victim was actually the mastermind? When does revenge become patriotism? The mansion's front door exploded again, but this time it was American voices shouting, "FBI, get down," instead of foreign operatives conducting assassinations. Brielle's team scattered like roaches when the lights come on, but there was nowhere to run. Zaid's lockdown system had turned his own home into a prison, one that now trapped the criminals instead of the victims. Through the smoke and chaos, Agent Sarah Martinez emerged with a team of federal agents who moved with military precision. She looked directly into the live stream cameras before speaking. "Ladies and gentlemen, you've just witnessed the takedown of one of the largest foreign intelligence operations in U.S. history." The live chat went absolutely insane. "We were witnesses to history. This is real FBI. ZYD is a hero." Brielle made one last desperate play, grabbing Vanessa and pressing the gun to her head. Everyone stays back, or the ex-wife dies. But Vanessa had spent the last hour watching her former husband reveal layers of brilliance and strength she'd never known existed. She wasn't the same weak woman who'd once called him too soft. "Do it," Vanessa said quietly, staring straight at Brielle. "Pull the trigger. At least I'll die knowing I was wrong about everything that mattered." The words hit Zaid harder than any bullet could have. His ex-wife, the woman who destroyed his confidence, who'd made him feel worthless, was willing to die to protect the truth they'd discovered together. Brielle's hand trembled. She was a professional spy, trained to kill without emotion. But something about Vanessa's calm acceptance of death made her hesitate. Agent Martinez used that moment of uncertainty to strike. One clean shot to Brielle's shoulder sent her weapon flying across the blood-stained marble floor. Brielle Rodriguez, real name Ekaterina Volkov. You're under arrest for espionage, conspiracy, computer fraud, and about 15 other federal crimes that'll keep you locked up until you're too old to remember why you came here. Leonard, still bleeding but conscious, watched his daughter's ex-husband with genuine respect. "Son, you just saved national security by letting yourself get played by a beautiful woman. That's either the smartest or the craziest thing I've ever seen." The live stream was approaching 15 million viewers as news networks picked up the feed. This wasn't just entertainment anymore. It was history being broadcast in real time. Zaid looked directly into the camera, his face exhausted but victorious. To everyone watching, this started as personal revenge against my ex-wife. But it became something bigger. It became about protecting our country from people who use love as a weapon. Vanessa stepped toward him carefully, unsure if she had the right to be close to him after everything that had happened. Zaid, I need to say something while the whole world is watching. I was wrong about you. I was wrong about us. I was too immature to recognize strength when it didn't look like what I expected. The live chat split between forgiveness and skepticism. As she doesn't deserve him, everyone deserves a second chance. This is so emotional. Agent Martinez interrupted their moment. Mr. Khalil, we need to debrief you on exactly how you identified and trapped this spy ring. Your country owes you a debt of gratitude. But Zaid was still staring at Vanessa, seeing her clearly for the first time in years. Can love survive betrayal? Can trust be rebuilt from ashes? When the whole world is watching, do second chances mean more or less? The mansion fell quiet except for the sounds of FBI agents processing evidence and paramedics treating Leonard's wounds. But 16. 2 million people were still watching, waiting to see how this story would end. Zaid walked to where Brielle, Ekaterina, sat handcuffed and bleeding, flanked by federal agents. She looked up at him with eyes that held no trace of the sweet Miami model who'd shared his bed. Was any of it real? He asked quietly. Even one moment? Even one kiss? She studied his face for a long time before answering in her true accent. You were the first Mark I ever felt guilty about betraying. Does that count? The honesty was somehow more painful than the lies had been. At least cruelty was simple to understand. Agent Martinez approached with a tablet full of classified documents. Mr. Khalil, the fake data you fed them was so convincing that 3 other foreign intelligence services tried to buy it. You've essentially created a honeypot that exposed an entire network of international spies. The livestream viewers were witnessing the transformation of a private revenge story into a matter of national security. Comments flooded in from around the world. Hero, genius, America is lucky to have him. But Zaid wasn't feeling heroic. He was feeling empty. 3 months of his life, his first intimate relationship, his trust in love itself, all of it had been carefully constructed lies. Vanessa stood nearby, unsure whether she had the right to comfort the man she'd abandoned. But watching him process this betrayal brought back every moment of their failed marriage, every cruel word she'd spoken, every time she'd made him feel worthless. Zaid, she said softly, can I talk to you? Privately. Agent Martinez shook her head. Ma'am, this is still an active crime scene, and we need Mr. Khalil for her. Let her talk, Zaid interrupted. The whole world has watched everything else tonight. They might as well see this too. Vanessa stepped closer, her expensive dress torn and dirty, her makeup smeared with tears and smoke. She looked nothing like the polished woman who'd walked into his party hours ago. I came here tonight to apologize and maybe win you back. But now I realize I don't deserve a second chance. You've become someone incredible, someone strong and brave and brilliant. Someone who protects his country by letting his heart get broken. The live chat was surprisingly quiet, millions of people holding their breath for this intimate moment. I was wrong to call you soft, she continued. You were never soft. You were just good, and I was too damaged to recognize good when I had it. Leonard, bandaged but standing, watched his stepdaughter with pride. Vanessa, you're finally saying what needed to be said years ago. Zaid looked at both women, the one who'd betrayed him professionally and the one who'd betrayed him personally. Then he looked at the cameras broadcasting his pain to the entire world. You want to know the truth about love? He said to the millions watching. Love isn't soft. Real love is the hardest thing in the world. It means trusting someone with the power to destroy you, then choosing to trust them anyway. He turned to Vanessa. You destroyed my trust once. She destroyed it again. Why should I believe either of you cares about anything except what I can give you? The question hung in the air like smoke, waiting for an answer that might determine everything. Vanessa took a deep breath. knowing that millions of people were about to judge every word she said. But for the first time in years, she didn't care about the audience. She only cared about telling Zaid the truth. "Because I'm not asking you to give me anything," she said simply. "I'm asking you to let me give something to you." The live stream chat paused, waiting to see where this was going. "For 3 years after our divorce, I told myself I left you because you weren't ambitious enough, weren't exciting enough, weren't man enough. But tonight, I watched you outsmart international spies, save national security, and face down armed killers without flinching." Agent Martinez and her team worked quietly in the background, but even the FBI agents were listening to this conversation. "The truth is, I left you because you were too good for me. You loved me completely, and I didn't know how to handle being loved like that. It scared me more than poverty, more than failure, more than anything." Leonard nodded slowly. "Sometimes we run from the very thing we need most." Zaid studied his ex-wife's face, looking for traces of manipulation or performance. But all he saw was exhaustion and honesty. "You hurt me, Vanessa. You made me feel like my kindness was weakness, like my faithfulness was boring, like my love was worthless. It took me 3 years to rebuild my confidence." "I know," she whispered. "And then she came along and destroyed it all over again." Zale looked toward where Katerina sat in handcuffs, her spy persona completely stripped away. "Actually, she did me a favor. She taught me that I'm stronger than I thought, that I can survive betrayal and still choose to be good." The live stream counter hit 18.5 million viewers as people shared this story across every platform on Earth. But the comments had changed from entertainment to inspiration. "This is real strength. Choose to be good. Forgiveness is powerful." Agent Martinez stepped forward with new information. "Mr. Khalil, we've traced the operation back to its source. Your fake data led us to spy networks in 12 countries. You've essentially dismantled a major threat to American cybersecurity." But Zaid wasn't thinking about national security anymore. He was thinking about personal security, the security that comes from knowing who you can trust. "Vanessa, if I gave you a second chance, what would you do with it?" She met his eyes without flinching. "I'd spend every day proving that I've learned the difference between a good man and an exciting man, that I've learned to value character over charisma. And if I can never fully trust you again, then I'd accept that as the consequence of my choices and still try to be the woman you deserve the first time." The mansion fell silent except for the hum of cameras and the distant sound of helicopters. Leonard watched his stepdaughter with something that looked like pride. Agent Martinez watched a masterclass in emotional intelligence. And millions of viewers watched two people navigate the complicated space between love and forgiveness. Zaid looked directly into the camera one more time. Everyone watching this needs to understand something. Forgiveness isn't about forgetting what someone did to you. It's about choosing not to let their actions control your future. He turned back to Vanessa. "I'm willing to try, but this time we do it right. This time we build something real." The live chat exploded with celebration and hope. 6 months later, the mansion looked completely different. Gone were the party decorations and broken glass, replaced by comfortable furniture and the kind of warmth that comes from genuine happiness. Zaid sat in his home office, reviewing the final FBI report on Operation Honeypot, the name they'd given to his accidental counterintelligence operation. 12 spy networks dismantled, 37 foreign agents arrested, and countless American secrets protected. But the real victory wasn't in the classified documents on his desk. It was in the sound of laughter coming from the kitchen, where Vanessa was attempting to cook dinner for the 3rd time this week. Their relationship was different now, slower, more careful, built on honesty instead of passion. They went to couples therapy every Thursday. They talked about everything, even the painful stuff. They were learning to love each other as adults instead of the damaged kids they'd been before. The live stream that had broadcast their story became the most watched video in internet history. But more importantly, it started conversations about trust, forgiveness, and the difference between love and manipulation. Leonard visited every Sunday, his military bearing softened by grandfatherly pride in watching his stepdaughter finally choose a good man. The bullet wound had healed, but the respect between him and Zaid had grown stronger. "You know what I realized?" Vanessa said, bringing him a cup of coffee that actually tasted good this time. "I used to think strength meant never getting hurt. But real strength is getting hurt and choosing to heal instead of becoming cruel." Zaid pulled her onto his lap, something that would have terrified him a year ago. Physical affection was still new for him, but it was real affection now. Not performance, not manipulation, just two people who'd learned to trust each other with their bodies and their hearts. "The FBI wants to offer me a consulting position," he told her, "helping them identify and trap foreign operatives who target tech executives. Using yourself as bait again? Using fake versions of myself as bait. I'm done being anyone's target." They sat together in comfortable silence, watching the sunset through windows that no longer needed bulletproof glass. The mansion felt like a home now instead of a fortress. Zaid's phone buzzed with a message from Agent Martinez. Ekaterina Volkov was sentenced to 25 years in federal prison. "She asked me to tell you that learning to love someone real would have been worth more than all the secrets she ever stole." He showed the message to Vanessa, who read it without jealousy or anger. "Do you think she meant it?" Vanessa asked. "I think she learned the same lesson we did. That real love is rare, and losing it changes you forever." Outside, a car pulled into the driveway. Leonard was early for Sunday dinner, probably bringing more stories about his military days and more terrible jokes that somehow made everyone laugh. Zaid looked at the life he'd built from the ashes of betrayal. A woman who loved him for who he really was, a family that respected his strength, work that protected his country, and a knowledge that he could survive anything and still choose to be good. The live stream had ended months ago, but the story it told continued every day. Not with millions of viewers, but with the quiet audience of people who mattered. People who loved him not for entertainment, but for real. Sometimes the best revenge is simply living well. Sometimes the greatest victory is learning to trust again. And sometimes the most beautiful love stories are the ones that start with forgiveness and grow into something worth protecting. The cameras were off, but the real story was just beginning. Thank you for watching The Price of Betrayal. If this story moved you, please like, share, and subscribe for more real American stories that matter. Tell us in the comments, have you ever had to choose between revenge and forgiveness? What would you have done in Zaid's situation? Remember, the strongest people aren't those who never fall. They're the ones who get back up and choose love anyway.